Okay, so now we're going to go over a video on how to create the cul-de-sac, or sorry, not cul-de-sac, roundabout. Um, so we started off with that video, the first video talking about alignments and on profiles. Then we bumped onto, from alignments and profiles, we bumped onto another a video about creating assemblies and creating the corridor and doing automatic intersections. Then I did a video on manual intersection creation. Now we've got this. Oh, then we did the video before this one was on the cul-de-sac creation. Now the last video we're going to do as part of this final is creating the roundabout. And I'm going to do kind of two different ways to show two different options that you can do with a roundabout. So here I have my roundabout, and I've got three roads coming in and out of that roundabout. This one that's coming into my site, I'm going to do that with an island in here in the middle, just so you can see if you want to create an island, kind of like a raised curb and gutter, kind of like you see on some roundabouts out there right now. I'll show you how to do that on this end. On these two, I'll do just kind of a regular intersection, which still kind of works. It's all up to you on how you want your design to look. But I'll run through both processes just so you can see how that works. So kind of the first thing that I do with this roundabout creation is I would go through and make sure that the roundabout is, the profile is set to be the way I want it to be set. So I'm going to go over here. I believe I already set up the roundabout drive profile view. I just have not put in the profile, finished ground profile that I want. Right now I have just the existing ground and what it's doing around that circle. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I am going to start creating a new profile view or profile for this. So I'm going to select this profile view and go up to Profile Creation Tools, and then I'm going to go in and change this name to Roundabout FG, just so that I know that that's my finished ground for my roundabout. Again, no design criteria, that nothing has to go into that one, so I can hit OK. That opens my Profile Layout Tools toolbar, which I can start putting in my finished ground profile. First thing I'm going to do is click on this first button over here, which is Draw Tangents Without Curves, and that's how I'm going to start. So I click on that button, having my snaps on, so F3 to turn snaps on. I'm going to just basically snap to my beginning point, and I'm going to go all the way and snap to the end point. Okay, so since my roundabout starts and ends at the same spot, it's going to be completely flat so far. It won't be once we finish our design. We'll adjust this to get water to flow the way we want it to flow. So I'm going to go back and take a look at my roundabout and kind of see how I want this to be set up. So right now I've got about 630 feet or something like that all the way around that center line of my roundabout. Now kind of have to figure out how you want the water to flow and where you're going to have your high points and low points. I mean, this is a pretty large roundabout, and kind of following suit with this other part of my design, I'm going to have high points be at each intersection. Okay, then that means a low point in the middle of each intersection to intersection. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go in and make sure I have a point at each one of these to have my high point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and click on Insert PVI. Then I'm going to go over here to my transparent commands, and I'm going to actually pick that from the alignment here so that I can get it exactly at the right spot. So this button right here, Profile Station from Plan. That's the one I'm going to use this time. Last time I used Profile and Elevation. This time I'm just going to use Profile Station from Plan. Now it asks me to select my profile view. So I go back here, this is my profile view. And now it goes back with this little red line showing me, ask me to pick a spot along that alignment. So obviously this first one, this is my start and end station, so I don't need to put anything there, but I do need to put something here. So I'm going to go to this end point, snap to it, and click. And now it asks me to, it says no elevation found, specify the base elevation. I'm just going to put 1045 because that's going to show up. It doesn't matter, it's going to be adjusted later anyways. Now it asks me to select the next spot. And I go back to this next intersection. Click there. Again, I'm going to put 1045 because I know that's going to fit between my 1030 and my 1060 in my profile view. So I'm going to put that in. And that's the only two that I need to put in because this one already is the beginning and the end of that profile. So I'm just going to right click and right click again to get out of it. So now if I go over to my profile view, and I see I have one intersection here which is the same intersection as the end, and then I have those other two. So now what I need to do, these are going to be high points. I need to put a low point in between each one of these. So all I'm going to do is again go up to this button for Insert PVI, and just turning my snaps off, I'm just going to roughly place kind of in between each one of these, just a rough estimate, because I'll adjust it later in the profile grid view. So then I'm going to right click to get out of that. Now comes the point where I'm going to start doing some calculations and fitting these in the right positions. So first thing I'm going to do is I probably want this start and end to be a little bit up from the existing ground. So I'm going to click on this profile grid view, third button in on my profile layout tools toolbar to open up the profile grid view. So right now my start station and my end station are at 1043.066. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bump that up to an even height. So I'm going to put 1044 because it's just about a foot up above existing ground. That way hopefully it'll kind of give me an even balance of earthwork. So I've just kicked both of those up to 1044. Now I'm going to work on the rest of the PVIs. So I can see that my first high point is at 0. Then I have a low point at this one, and then a high point which has to be at that station, so 2 plus 39.49. So I have to figure out what half of 239.49 is and put that value in here. So if I just open up my calculator, and you could do it in your head too if you'd like, or you could just put it in your calculator to figure it out too. So I know it's 239.49 feet from start to that station. So 239.49. Okay, and then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm going to divide that by 2. So it's 119.745 feet to in the middle. So I'm going to put right here, this station is going to be 119.745. So 119.745. So I know that's halfway in between. Now I need to look at halfway in between the next two high points. So from this high point, number 3 to number 5, I go from the 239.49 to the 388.83. So I'm going to punch in 388.83, and I'm going to subtract 239.49. 239.49, and subtract those two, so 149 feet between the two. So I'm going to cut that in half, which gives me 74.67, and I'm going to add that to this number here, or sorry, to this number, this 239. So I'm going to put 239.49 hit plus, so the middle should be at 314.16. So I'll put 314.16. So that's exactly halfway between those two. Now I have to figure out what the distance is between this number 5 and number 7, high point to high point. So again, pull up my calculator. I type in 628.32, and then I subtract 388.83. 388.83. So it's 239.49. Take 2 to divide that. So I have to be 119 feet between those two there. So I'm going to take this 388.83 and add it to that to get what my middle station, my low point, should be. So I take 388.83 and add it. So this should be 508.575. 508.575. So now I have these stations in the right place. They're evenly spaced out there. But now I need to adjust the slopes up and down to get high points and low points. So starting at my 0 station, just kind of like I did before, 0 is going to be a high point, so I'm going to grade out at -1%. So that's going to be going down. I get to my low point, and then I need to grade out from that up at a +1. So again, I'm going back and forth, -1, +1, until I get to the end, which we want to make sure that the start and the end station have the same exact elevation, which they do. If they don't, you need to make sure that they do match up. If these aren't quite 1%, that's okay. But it just happens that mine completely fit in, everything is evenly spaced. So now that I've got that, I can actually close out of this profile grid view for now, and I need to add some curves in here because I can't have these sharp edges there. So what I'm going to do is, up in my Profile Layout Tools toolbar, I'm going to go to where I have the curves. It's this button right here. I hit the drop down, go to Free Vertical Curve Parabola, and I'm going to start with my first entity, so the one over here. Click that one, click the next one, and now it's asking me to specify a radius or a length or a pass-through or a K value. Again, this is a roundabout, so we're going to actually be going probably slower than our normal speed of 25 miles an hour. It's probably going to be about 20 miles an hour or so. So we're really going to ignore whatever fits in here fits in here. So I'm going to put a starting radius of let's say 1,000 feet. Okay, then I'll click the next one and the next one, and I'm going to put 1,000 feet there as well. Oh, didn't work. Okay, back to the parabola. This one, enter 1,000 feet. Next one, 1,000 feet. Next one. Okay, so I put 1,000 feet between each, or for each curve. So I'm going to right click to accept that. But I've got a lot of space in here that I can basically up the curve on those. So I'm going to click Profile Grid View, and I'm going to adjust a little bit of these curves. So on the crest curves that we have, usually our K values on crest curves are larger than what they are on sag curves. So I'm going to change these. I'm going to bump these crests up to 40. Then I'm going to kick these sag curves to about 20. So we're getting close to about what the values were before, or closer. Now I'm going to close out of this and see what that looks like. Okay, so right in the middle here, I'm pretty close to being as much as I can go. I've got some room that I could work with in the sag curves here on either end. So I'm going to up those ones on the ends too, probably to about 30 for each one. And these crest curves, I might be able to bump those up too. Yeah, it looks like I can bump that up to 45. So now we're looking a little bit better. And then again, like when we did the alignment and profile creation in the beginning, this point over here and this point over here are the same exact spot, and they're a high point. But we want to add a curve between them. It's hard to add a curve between the start and end. We're just going to kind of make a somewhat of a curve there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to click on this Insert PVI button. And again, make sure the snaps are off, so F3 to turn the snaps off. I'm just going to place this one out here a little ways. And again, over here, just back a little ways. We'll adjust the position just in a second here. So I'm going to accept that. I'm going to open up my profile grid view. Okay, now maintaining this 0 at 1044, I'm going to grade out completely flat at 0%. Okay, and at the end, I'm going to grade back at 0%. That way I maintain that elevation at both ends. Now I need to kind of position these a little bit so that they'll fit nicely in there. So right now I've got about 36 feet on the one and about in that kind of 30-ish range on the other. So I'm going to make these 40 feet. So I'm going to put 40 here, and then I'm going to cut 40 back from this one. So 628.32 minus 40 would be 588.32. So 588.32. So now we've kicked those back a little bit. Now I can close out of this and I can add some curve in there. And we might end up moving these even further back if we need to. So I'm going to do the free vertical curve parabola. Pick my first entity. If it'll let me. Okay, and I'm going to define my radius as, let's say, about 2,000 feet. Okay, so that fits in there pretty good. Pick this one and this one at the ends. 2,000 feet. Okay, so it's fitting pretty decent. But I still got some room to move, so I'm going to move this PVI over a little bit. So going back to my profile grid view, instead of having it 40 feet, I'm going to change those to 30 feet. So this is actually going to be 598.32 instead. Okay, so it's going to pull it in there. Now I'm going to be able to put a larger curve in here. So since we're looking at the end station, let me change my K value here to 40. Okay, so we're getting close to being at the end. So what if I see if I can fit a 45 in there? Okay, cannot solve because it's going to go beyond. So I'm going to up that to 41. Okay, so we're getting closer. I'm going to up that to 42. Okay, that's probably close enough. There's going to be a little bit of a flat spot on top, but that's okay. Or I can maybe jump up one more. Let's try 43. So 43, then what I can do up at the top here, I can put that one to 43 as well. It should fit. So if I look back on the other side, again, it all fits in nicely. So now when I connect the end and the beginning and the end, it should have a curve in there with a slight flat spot, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is close out of the profile grid view. I don't need that open anymore. Now I'm looking at my profile. Going to take a look and see if anything needs to be changed. So I've noticed now this, instead of being 1%, it's 1.33. Not a big deal. Still within our range. So we can just leave it at that. So now we're done with creating that roundabout profile. I can actually close out of this layout tools toolbar. That we're done with that one. Now what I need to do is I'm actually going to create the assembly that I want for this roundabout. So we're going to go over here to my assemblies, and I'm going to go up to assembly up here, hit the drop down, and do create assembly. I'm going to call this assembly roundabout. Roundabout full, just so I know what I'm dealing with. Probably put a dash in between. Okay, the assembly type, this is going to actually be an undivided planar road, because we're not going to have a crown in it. It's going to be just flowing to one side instead of having a crown. So I'm going to choose undivided planar road. Then I'm going to go down and hit OK, and it's asking me where do I want to place the marker. I'm just going to place it up here. So I have that new marker there. Now the easiest way to do this is just to use what we have here, use the copy, and then just alter the dimensions. So I'm going to go to my full road here, and I'm going to select everything on the left side, hit the copy button, go up to the top, paste that at that marker. I'm going to hit escape to unselect that, then go back down, select everything on the right side, hit the copy, go back up, click on that marker. Okay, so now we have something that looks just like the full road, which if you were planning on having a 2-lane roundabout, you could keep it at this if you wanted. But the way that I'm going to do it, most roundabouts that you see, especially in residential areas, are just kind of a single lane. So there's no changing lanes within the roundabout. It gets kind of tricky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the parameters for these lanes and shoulders or curbs. So I'm going to select this left shoulder first, because if you look at my alignment, you see my 0 starts here and it's going in this counterclockwise direction, which means that this side is going to be the inside of my cul-de-sac is going to be the left side of my assembly. The outside of the cul-de-sac, the roundabout, is going to be the right side of my assembly. So I'm going to go over here. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is select that left lane, which is going to be my inside lane. I'm going to right click and choose properties. Then from here I'm going to go down to my parameters, and I'm going to change that width to 6 feet instead of 12 feet, and a slope is going to be positive 2% instead of negative 2. Then I'm going to hit escape to unselect that. Then I select the right side, scroll down some parameters, change the width to 6 feet instead of 12 feet, and I can leave that at minus 2%. So then I can escape again. So now we actually have a 12 foot, so one way, no two-way traffic in here, or two car width traffic. We have one width, and it's all going to flow to the outside of my cul-de-sac. But right now I have this curb still flowing down in, so I want to flow out of that curb. So I'm going to click that curb, and I'm going to go down to my parameters, so the curb on the left side. I'm going to change the gutter slope to a positive 2%, so now we're flowing out of the curb down the road, but my subbase is still flowing down, so I want to change my subbase slope to 2% as well. Then it looks decent. And I'm going to hit escape. Don't need the properties window open anymore. I've got my full road for my roundabout set and already in there. So now I can go in, and what I'm going to do is actually just add that to my corridor at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the corridor that I have for my full road, for my main road, everything, and then I'm going to go up to corridor properties. Okay, and then within the corridor properties, I'm going to add a new baseline. First, I'm going to collapse all these baselines so that it's not so hectic and crazy. and I'm going to click add a baseline, and this time I'm going to choose my roundabout alignment as my new baseline. So I'm going to find my roundabout drive and hit OK. And I scroll down to the bottom, I see my new baseline down there for roundabout, but my vertical baseline is not in here. So I'm going to click where it says click here, I click there, and it asks me to select a profile, so I pick roundabout FG and hit OK. Now I have a baseline in there, but I don't have my region in there yet. So I right click on that baseline, hit add a region, and the assembly I need to hit the drop down and choose roundabout full. Hit OK. Now I can hit the plus that it's created over here to see that region. Scroll over. I'm going to adjust the frequency for this one. Instead of 25, which actually we only have a curve, there's no tangents in there, so only for the curve increments you should just change it to 5. Hit OK to accept that. Then I need to target, so go over to your targets, hit the ellipses. We want to set the link slope to surface to daylight out, so out on our side slopes. So click here to set all, and that's going to go down to our EG, our existing ground. After you've done that, you can click OK, rebuild the corridor. It's going to go through. And now you can see that is now a road going around, but right now it's just around and around and around, and they can't get in or out. So we need to add intersections in here basically to create our final roundabout. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to split this at this spot, but here's where I start and end my alignment, so I just have to basically click where it starts and where it ends just to leave a gap there. So I'm going to click on the corridor. I'm going to go up to corridor properties. I'm going to collapse all of these baselines, go down to the bottom where I have my roundabout, expand that, and now with this region I can see it starts at 0. I don't want it to start at 0, so I click the little button here where I can choose it from the alignment. I want it to start up here somewhere, probably up here to give me good enough space. Again, I don't want it to end at that spot either. I want it to end before. So I'm going to click that little button, go back down, and I'm going to put it down there somewhere. So now I got a nice big gap so I can build what I need to build in there. So I can hit OK, rebuild the corridor. Okay, now I have a nice gap there, but I need to create a gap here and here. So what I'm going to do is, with the corridor still selected, I go up here to split region, click there. I'm going to split this region. You select the region, which is only one region right now, so I select there, and I'm going to split there. It asks me to select the region I want to split again. I'm going to pick this region, pick a point there. Then I right click, and now I have three new regions, one here, and one here. Now if I zoom in here, I grab this one of these triangles, not the diamond. The diamond is just going to shift them together. If I grab this triangle, I can zoom out then and find a spot to place that. I'm going to place that back here so it's out of the way. And then I'm going to grab this diamond now and place that down here so it's out of the way somewhere. Probably right about there. Okay, again, zoom into this intersection, grab one of these triangles, not the diamond yet, pull that back. I'm going to place that one up here somewhere to get it out of the way. Okay, grab this diamond here, or yeah, the diamond there. I'm going to pull that back and get that out of the way. Okay, so now I have gaps at these intersections that I can work with and build in there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating these two right now that are just a basic intersection with no median. So I'm going to work on those two first. So probably start with the one that's basically coming in. So I'm going to start with this one. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to offset my lane. So I'm going to hit O for offset, 12 feet for my offset. I'm going to offset this 12 feet on each side. So that's what my lanes are going to be, because I'm going to have one that's coming in and one that's going out. Okay. Then I'm going to also do another offset. So offset, but this time I'm going to offset 6 feet. And what I'm going to offset is this center line, right? Because I have 6 feet on each side of this, because it's one travel lane. Okay, so now I have that. Now I can put my fillets in here to create my curb return alignments. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to activate a circle command. So C, enter for circle. I'm going to choose the tangent radius. Pick this point as one tangent, this point as another tangent. I'll try 30 to begin with. Okay, so keep in mind now this is coming down this road and then out. So try to make sure that that one looks like it's going to fit okay. I'm probably going to up that just a little bit just to give more of a space for turning in. So I'm going to select that circle and erase it. Do another circle for tangent radius. Pick this as one of the tangents. This is another tangent. I'm going to put 40 feet. Okay, a little bit better. I'm going to keep it at 40. Now I'm going to put one in here. Again, circle, tangent radius. Pick this as my first tangent. This is my second tangent. I'll try 40 to begin with here. See how that works. So now keep in mind this is coming the lane out of my subdivision and onto the roundabout. So make sure that this looks like it's going to fit and work perfectly. And that probably does work just fine. So now I'm going to do some trimming to clean this up. So I'm going to go to TR for trim. I'm going to pick both these two lanes and this lane as my cutting edges. Then I right click and I trim out this outer circle and this outer circle. So now I'm actually left with the two that I need to work with. I don't need these two lanes anymore, so I can erase those out. But I do need this line just in between these two PCs. So I need to trim out the stuff on the outside. So I do another TR for trim. Select this and this as my cutting edge. Then I right click and then I select this outer to trim out. So now I just have this piece just in between, which is what I need. And then I have these two for my curb returns. Okay, so now I'm ready to start working with my building my intersections basically. So what I'm going to do is I already have a dummy assembly for this road, but I don't have a dummy assembly for this road. So I need to create a dummy assembly that will work on this road, so I can create 2 dummy corridors for each one of these, so that I can get the information I need for this intersection. Okay, now there would be a way to do this automatically too, but with the number of intersections I have, probably better off just to do it manually. So over here I've got a dummy that'll work for my full roads, but I don't have one that'll work for my roundabout road. So I'm going to go up to assembly, go to create assembly. I'm going to call this one dummy and roundabout. Dummy roundabout. And the assembly type is going to be other. Hit OK. I'm going to place that just above the other one. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the dummy road that I have from before, and I'm just going to use those sub-assemblies and copy them. So I'm going to select the left side, hit copy, copy to that one up above. Okay, escape, select the other side, copy, paste that one to that marker, escape. Okay, now the inside lane, I need to change that. So I'm going to select that, right click, do properties, and I'm going to change the width and the slope. So width I'm going to cut down to about 8 feet. Slope I'm going to change to a positive 2%. because again we're sloping out. Hit escape, select that outside lane. I'm already at a -2, which is good, and I just need to change the width to 8. So now escape and close out of the properties, everything's flowing out. So that's how I want it to look. So now what I can do is I can go in here, I'm going to create a dummy corridor around this and a dummy corridor here with surfaces. So first off, let me start with this one. So I'm going to go up, well actually I have to update some of this. I'm going to start with this roundabout one because that's what I'm dealing with first. So I'm going to go up to corridor and I'm going to call this one dummy roundabout. And I'm going to say dummy roundabout main, just so I know that it's the main part of the roundabout. I'm going to choose my alignment as my roundabout alignment, roundabout drive. My profile will be my FG. The assembly I'm going to use is the dummy roundabout assembly, and I'm not going to target any surface, but I do want to set the baseline and region parameters, so I'm going to keep that checked. I'm going to hit OK. The only thing I need to change on my baseline and region parameters is for this region, I want to update this frequency. So click those ellipses. Instead of 25 around these curves, I'm going to have these as, let's say 3 feet, probably good. So I'm going to change those to 3. So we're not going too overboard, but pretty decent. Hit OK, and then hit OK, rebuild the corridor. Now it places that in there. Now I need to build a surface for this, so I select that corridor for my dummy, go up to corridor properties, go over to surfaces, hit this button over here to create a new corridor surface. It adds that in here. Make sure to add the data links and top to it. So I'm going to click that, and then I'm going to go keep that as is. And since we have a complete circle around here, I'm not going to put in any boundary, because it's gonna, if I put the boundary in, it might screw up a little bit of what I've got going on here. So I'm just going to leave it as is, hit OK, and then rebuild my corridor. Now there should be a surface in here all the way around. Okay, so next thing we need to do is to make sure that this road ties in to this cul-de-sac. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the profile for this road here, which would be my north entrance drive profile, this one right here. Here is, I've already, if I click on here, that's already where I have an intersection. So that's where it's tying into my main loop drive. So I need to update so I can make everything work within this area. So what I need to do is add that dummy roundabout into here so that I can see where I'm tying into. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to this profile drop down, go to create surface profile. I'm going to choose my north entrance drive, and I'm going to add in that dummy roundabout surface. So I'm going to click add, and right now it's going to add it as the existing style, but I want to change the style so it's a little different. I'm going to choose intersection basic. Hit OK. Don't need to hit draw in profile view, just hit OK. It's going to process, and now I see this line that pops in. That is that dummy road for the edge of the roundabout. So what I need to do now is I need to update this profile, this finished ground profile for that one coming into the roundabout, so to match up with the roundabout. So I'm going to click on that profile there at my finished ground, go up to geometry editor, and I'm going to, first thing I'm going to do is just grab this little grip here and move it up. Make sure I have my snap on. Move it up to match in to that part of the road, the roundabout, and then I have to put another PVI at that point. So I'm going to hit insert PVI, and I'm going to insert that right at that end point. Then I can right click to accept that. Now this is what I have. Now this is dipping down pretty significantly. Probably want to raise that up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, the one that's smaller percentage coming in, I'm going to raise that up so it's 1%, because if I raise this up to 1%, then this is going to be less than 1%. So I'm going to hit that profile grid view, and I'm going to change this one right here that was at 1.6, and I'm going to change that to -1%. Close out of here. So it's kicked that up there, and it's decreased this one a little bit, but that's okay. So that's going to fit pretty perfectly there. So I'm going to escape to accept that. I'm going to close out of this profile layout view. So now this alignment is matching up perfectly between this part and this part. So now I need to create a dummy surface for this one. So again, I'm going to go up to corridor, create a new corridor, and I'm going to call this one dummy north entrance drive. Go down, make sure I pick the right alignment, so I'm going to choose my north entrance drive, choose the right profile, which would be my FG, choose the right assembly, which would be my dummy full road. Okay, don't need to target a surface, and this is just a straight section, so there's no need for me to do any updating to the region, the parameters of the baseline parameters. So I'm just going to uncheck that and hit OK. So let's put this in here now. Now what I need to do is build a surface for that. So if I select that corridor, go up to corridor properties, and I choose under the surfaces tab, I hit this create new surface. I have to add the data to it, so I hit the plus, make sure it's links in top, hit the plus. Now I have that in there. Now this one I can add a boundary to, okay, because it doesn't start and end at the same spot. So I'm going to right click on that, do corridor extents outer boundary, hit OK, rebuild the corridor. Now I have that surface in here already. So now I have all the information I should need to start building the rest of this corridor, or building the rest of this entrance here for this cul-de-sac. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first off, we created that dummy layer that we could shut these off, so I'm going to select both of these corridors. Okay, right click, go to properties, so I can see I have two corridors selected. Change these from that C road core to the C road core dummy, which is going to move it to a turned off layer, which is good. I can close out of the properties. I still have the surfaces showing up that I just created. So I'm going to go over to my surfaces list here in the prospector tab. Go down to my dummy north entrance, right click on it, do surface properties. Under the information tab, make sure that the surface style is set to no display. And then go to the dummy roundabout, right click on that, surface properties, make sure the surface style, no display again. And okay, so now they don't show up. So now what we can do is we can create these as alignments and build their profiles. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this one right here. So I'm going to go up here to alignment, create alignment from objects, and pick that arc and right click. Now again, we're following traffic direction, so this road here is actually going in this way, so this is actually backwards. So I'm going to hit reverse, so it's going the right way. Now I'm going to call this one something unique, so I'm going to call this one roundabout INT for intersection, and that would be my let's say north. I'm gonna put N for north, ENT for entrance, DR for drive, and then I'm gonna call that the northeast. So it's the northeast quadrant. So I've got that in there to identify what it is. Again, the type is a curb return. It's not a center line. No need to change the design criteria or anything. We can erase the existing entities, hit OK. Now I have that alignment in here. Next, I can build this alignment. So alignment, create alignment from objects, select that line, right click. Now this is the right way for the traffic to be going. It's going out of the subdivision and down onto the cul-de-sac, or the roundabout. So that's the right direction, so I'm going to accept that. And I'm going to call this one, similar to what I just did, I'm going to call this one Roundabout INT. And this is N ENT drive, and this is my southwest. So something to identify what it is, so that when you have a huge list of alignments, as you will, you know exactly where to go from there. Again, this is not a center line, it's a curb return. Leave everything else as default, hit OK. Last thing we need to do is create this as an alignment as well. So now I'm going to go up to the alignment again, create alignment from objects, pick that line. Again, follow the traffic direction, which is that way. So I'm going to accept that. Okay, call that alignment. Again, a unique thing that you know what you're dealing with. So I'm going to call this one Roundabout INT. And N entrance drive, and I'm going to call this one let's see, I'll just put offset. I know what I'm dealing with. And that's going to be an offset alignment, because it's offset of that main part. Hit OK. Now I've put that in there. So now what I need to do is create profiles for that. So first thing I'm going to do is create for these two curves. So I'm going to go up to Profile, go to Create Surface Profile, choose the right alignment. So for instance, that one, for me, it's going to be Roundabout INT North Entrance Drive, and it's the northeast that I'm going to work with first. Okay, I'm going to select the dummy road for my roundabout as a surface, the dummy road for that other road coming into it for a surface, and that's it. I'm going to hit Draw on Profile View, go through and hit Next, Next. At the profile view height, we use user specified. Again, I'm going to put mine to 1030 to 1060, so it's below the minimum, above the maximum. Don't have split profile view checked. Hit Create Profile View, and then I'm going to go off here and place that somewhere where I know where I'm going to look for it. So I'm going to place that up there. Again, do a new profile, create surface profile, choose the alignment. Okay, my alignment would be my Roundabout INT North Entrance Drive Southwest, so the opposite curb return. Again, I'm choosing the roundabout dummy and the road coming into the roundabout dummy. Hit Draw on Profile View. I can hit Next and Next. For profile view height, user specified, minimum of 1030, maximum of 1060. don't have split profile view checked, hit create profile view. I'm going to place that in here as well. Okay, the last one, go to profile, create surface profile. Okay, for this one we choose that one offset one. This one, the only surface that we need to put in here is that roundabout dummy. So you add that in. No need to draw a profile view. So just hit OK. Okay, so now I need to create a finished ground profile for both of these curb returns. So first off, I'm going to start with this one up here. So I'm going to select that profile, the view, go to Profile Creation Tools, okay, and I'm going to name this whatever I have here for my alignment name with FG at the end. One way that you can do that, because we're getting a lot of text in here, is if I click this little button over here, I can go in here and I could select alignment name from property fields, hit insert, go back down here, space, FG, and hit OK. And now it's going to name it exactly that. Go to OK. I'm going to click on this little draw tangents without curves. First one is the endpoint here. Second one is the endpoint down here. Right click to accept. Done. Close out of that layout tools. Go down to the next one. Select that view. Go up to the profile creation tools. Again, instead of having to type that all out, I can click this little button here. Where I have an alignment name, I can hit insert, space, FG. OK. Now it's there. Hit OK. Draw tangents without curves. From this point to that point. Now I have that one. Close out of here. Now I'm ready to put that in as a corridor for at least this section here. So I'm going to select the corridor, okay, and then I'm going to build in these two right here. So I'm going to go up and do corridor properties, go over to the parameters. I'm going to collapse all the baselines. I'm going to add a baseline. First one I'm going to add is this one right here, that northeast that I just made. So I'm going to go back down, roundabout, intersection, north entrance drive, northeast. Hit OK. Scroll down to the bottom, I can see it right there. Vertical baseline, we need to add that, so where it says click here, I click there, and I use the roundabout FG one. Hit OK. Alright, then I right click on that, because I have no region for it yet. Go to add a region, and the region will be a curb return assembly. Hit the little plus button to expand. Go over here, we're going to adjust the frequency. So right now it's set to 25. I'm going to click the little ellipses there, and I'm going to adjust the curve increments to 2. And hit OK. I'm going to hit the targets, ellipses, click that. My target surface, where I'm going to daylight out to, I click where it says none, and I hit the EG. So it's going to give me daylight. We do need to set the width targets and the elevation targets. So for width target, click where it says none, and you can pick from the list if you know what you're looking for. I'm gonna pick this little green pick box so we know which ones you can see which ones I'm dealing with. So I pick there. The ones I'm gonna target, we're dealing with this baseline right here. So I'm gonna target this one and this one. That's where it's gonna come out to. So right click and hit add. Both of those are in here. I hit OK. Now I need to target both of those alignments again with their elevations. So I'm going to hit where it says the elevation targets and it says none. Click there. Again, you can choose it by picking it from the drawing or drop down from the list. I'm going to drop down from the list because I know what I'm looking for. Okay, first thing I'm going to look for is that north entrance drive. And I'm targeting the FG. Hit add. Next thing I'm looking for is that roundabout intersection, northeast or north entrance, the offset. Okay, and we only have the dummy, and that's what we're going to target. So I'm going to hit add. Then I hit OK and OK. Alright, now I could hit OK here and rebuild the corridor and it would build that, but we can build the other pieces right now. So I'm going to add another baseline, and I'm going to add the other side of that little intersection. So I'm going to go back down, go to my roundabout intersection north entrance drive southwest. I hit OK. Now if I go down to the bottom, I've added that there. We have to add the vertical baseline, so where it says click here, I click there, hit that drop down, choose the FG, hit OK. We have to add the region to it, so right click on it, add region. It's going to be a curb return assembly. I hit OK. I hit the little plus sign. Now I can see my region. I'm going to update the frequency. So where it says 25, I click the ellipses, changing the curve increment to 2 feet. Going to the targets, hit the little ellipse, hit the target surface for my daylight, for my side slopes, to EG. My width target, where it says none, I'm going to click there. I'm going to pick it from the drawing, so again you can see what I'm trying to target to. Picking this center line and this offset line. Right click to accept, hit the add, they're both in there now, hit OK. We need to set the elevations for those, so I hit where it says none. I'm going to choose from the list, so I hit the list, go down, find my north entrance drive. I'm targeting the FG for that one. And I find that intersection offset one. I'm targeting the dummy for that one. So I hit add to that one, hit OK. Now I'm going to hit OK again, or sorry, OK here, and OK here, rebuild the corridor, and it should put in those little curves in there. Just like that. Okay, but there's still some things we need to fill in to finish up this portion. So first thing I can do is I can grab this grip and I can bring that back and basically snap to this endpoint. Zoom in here so I make sure I get the right spot. Okay, so we got that in there. You can grab this one, bring that back to this point. Okay, first thing we can do is we can fill in this portion here. So if I look here, I've got a flat portion here, so I just need to put a full road in to meet up with this point. So with the corridor selected, I go up to corridor properties. I'm going to collapse these baselines, and I'm going to go through and see if I have a north entrance baseline already in here for this alignment. So I'm going to go in, look through. Here I have a north entrance drive, so that's already the one that I'm looking for. So there's no need to add one. So I hit the plus. Right now it's got what's at the intersection that's up there. So I need to add one basically before these two. Actually before this top one. So I'm going to click where it says the top one, right click and insert region before. And that's going to be a full road. Okay, we need to adjust the parameters. So now it says it's going to start from 0, which is right at the intersection down here with the roundabout. I want it to start out here. So I'm going to, instead of being at 0, I'm going to pick the little button here to pick my station. And I'm actually going to go just to right there, because that's how far I want to go with the full road. Okay, right now it's got 25 feet for frequency. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to adjust the curve increments to 5, so they're both vertical and horizontal. Then I'm going to go over here and do my targets. So hit the ellipses, and I'm just going to adjust these daylight targets. So I'm going to go click here to set all, EG, and it updates those target surfaces. And I'm going to hit OK. Now when I close out of this, it would rebuild all the way to here, but I have a little half road that I need to put in here. Okay, and the alignment's going this way, so it's going to be a half road right. So I'm going to insert another region before this one that I just created. So it's going to insert before into here. Choose my half road right. Hit OK. Again, I don't want it to go all the way back to the beginning. I just want it to go to this point. So where it starts, instead of 0, I'm going to click the little button, and I'm going to pick that station right there. Again, go over. We're going to adjust the frequency. We can change these to 5 as well. Change my targets. So here, change the target surface to EG. I'm going to hit OK here, rebuild the corridor, and you'll see now that it'll close that gap up. Okay, so now that part's in. We just have a little piece here that needs to go in. Now, the way this one's looking, it's looking like we're going to need just the lane on the right side and everything else on the left side. Okay, so I'm going to go over to my assemblies. I'm going to create a new assembly for my roundabout. Okay, with just the lane on the right side, everything else on the left side. So go to assembly, hit create assembly. I'm going to call this one roundabout. No curb, no day, right. Okay, and the assembly type, it's still going to be an undivided planar. Hit OK, put that down below here. Again, everything on the left side is going to remain, so I'm going to select everything on that left side, hit copy, paste it in here. Escape. Choose just the lane on the right side, copy, paste that at that marker. Now I've got everything I need. Now I can go add that into this region of my roundabout. So I'm going to pick the corridor again, and I'm going to go to, well, I can do it through corridor properties, or I can just hit here, add region. So I'm going to click add region just to show you another way. Now you'll see it turns red to see which one I'm picking, so I'm going to pick that one. It says which one do you want to start at. So here's going to be my starting station. Okay, so I click there, and then here's going to be my ending station. It asks me to choose my assembly, so I hit the drop down. I'm going to choose my roundabout, no curb, no day right. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, where it says click here to set all for target surfaces, I'm going to choose my EG. Okay, and there's no need to put any width targets or elevation targets, so I'm going to hit OK. Okay, and it's filled that in, but now it doesn't look so good. I want to probably follow the same pattern here, so I'm going to just right click out of that. I'm going to edit the frequency in here. So with the corridor selected, I go up here to edit frequency, pick that region. I'm going to change the curve increments to 3, just like the rest of it. Hit OK. Looks a little better. And I'm going to escape out. So now that's how to do one of the portions just like that, with no island or anything. This other one will be done exactly the same. So I'm going to pause and finish up this one that same way, and then we'll come back. I'll unpause it, and we'll build this one. Okay, so I noticed after I paused to finish up that the other entrance into the roundabout that the time has gotten pretty long on this video, so I'm going to stop this video at this point, and then I'm going to go into the next one in a new video. So